Good afternoon, Pass fans. Welcome to Speed Gaming Daily Race. We have a glitch scene here today with some hybrid major glitches featuring Ankles, Mr. Buyer, Dark Sky, and Dr. Earworm. My name is C. Highwind, and joining me in the booth today is Excalibur. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, thanks. How you doing?
Doing well. I don't know how much you've seen of hybrid major glitches, but this is a fun mode to watch, and it should be fun to calm too. Because I don't know how much experience you have with glitches. I'll have a lot of the explanation of what's going on. So, but hybrid major glitches. We have a nice open 7-7 seed, except we're allowed to start with the boots, like you see here on the screen, and we can use those boots to do a lot of fun overworld glitches. In addition, there are some underworld clips that are in Logic, which, when we get them, we'll get to them. And it looks like we're off today. And everyone's starting at Link's house.
Ain't just a heart piece. Looking like a
common route you'll see is people will check this Hylia Island item, because we can actually get that without clippers. And another common route, people like to get this hobo clip here, clip it to the rail, jump off the right point, and we actually screen transition to get a fake clipper going into the hobo, who just gives us bombs today.
So do you tend to see that as one of the more common start points for players to do this hobo?
It's one of several popular starts, yes. And some people go and head over to Sahas's Closet instead of to hobo, like we saw from Sky. And we're just getting some interesting routes here, because now we're going from that Sahas's opener from Angles and going south into CAC, while we're getting Lost Woods from Buyer, and we're getting the 300 rupees off of Hylia Island from Dr. Earworm. So yeah. You also notice that a lot of people have a lot of different routes, and it will be hectic once we get going later.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. I think I saw there was a fire rod in Sahas's Closet. Pendants were, I think, Eastern and Hera with a red crystal in Desert.
Well, if we have a fire rod, that actually means that desert is clearable right now. And I'll explain it when we get down there. And we have red rupees on the bush crab, so just good resources to get early. And Buyer and Sky are giving us a look here at this Lumberjack item. And if it's anything, the only way we do Aga is if Lumberjack has something.
It looked like just a piece of heart, so...
So the wizard gets to live today. And Mr. Buyer is, hey, look where we are. We're now on Death Mountain. Doesn't it look pretty?
Oh boy, that's really glitched up.
Alright, and welcome to HMG. Here's our first piece of logic to know. Tower of Hera, there doesn't have to be a key. There doesn't have to be a key on the first floor. So this could logically be locked behind Misery Mire access. It isn't. So, yeah. But logically, Tower of Hera can be locked behind access to Misery Mire. We got Bombos and Kakariko, worth noting.
So are those connected in some way, like Hera and Mire?
There is remember how I said there are some underworld clips in Logic?
Yes.
So there's actually a clip that takes you from the 4 torches room with the Wizrobes in Misery Mire that leads to cutscene chest. That was a hammer. But you can go from the cutscene chest torches, and then you can go use a bomb clip to go into the fairy fountain in Tower of Hera. And it will count as still being in Misery Mire state. We have Hammer and Moon Pearl already, so there's a lot open to us now, because the Moon Pearl puts basically the entire Dark World into logic.
Huh.
Because, again, we can do overworld glitches, we can just... You know how we easily fire got up the mountain, right?
Yeah.
It's just as easy to get down. So, you can access the Dark World with just the Moon Pearl by way of the portal up here on Death Mountain. Hammer, fire rod, shovel. This is a pretty loaded Kakariko.
Yeah, shovel in the blind side. Just also a bug net just there, and Mr. Buyer. Okay, that's another one of those. Just hop down right into the graveyard cave.
I missed. Did he transition upward after going down, or not?
The screen looked kind of glitchy a little bit.
I'm going to imagine he didn't, and he actually is probably going to go jump into the fairy drop down over here, because doing that transition downward actually messes up the camera and drops you in the Houlihan room when you drop into a hole. And Doc is going to clip down to Graveyard Ledge as well. It's a common... Sometimes people do this Graveyard Ledge play early, because Graveyard Ledge is guaranteed bombs.
Yeah, I think that's what the others did as well.
No, there were bombs on Hobo, for those who did clip to Hobo, and Angles got bombs off the 50-50 bushes south of Kakariko. Like I said, there's a lot of openers you can do in this game, and this mode especially. Meanwhile, we did get Bottle off of that Graveyard Ledge, so... Bottles are good, because we can do things with potions in the overworld, too. Did you know blue potions are actually just flutes?
Really?
And you'll notice, Sky is down here in Desert Palace. We just clipped up from the race game and jumped down to Desert Palace, because that's a normal place to go.
I'm just trying to follow what's going on here. I think there was another bottle in Desert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sky's doing probably the most traditional route of a glitch run. You do Kakariko, you do Desert as part of your Kakariko loop.
It looked like the first sword in Mini Moldorm Cave.
Swords are nice to have, because there are quite a few glitches where, rather than just clipping in manually like we've been seeing, you can actually arm a spin speed and walk through the ledge instead. Which is a little easier. Sometimes. Another thing of note, you know how in non-glitched logic you tend to see a lot of people water walk?
Yes.
That water walk is in logic. In this mode. So,
okay.
You can have things like flippers in Waterfall Ferry, for example.
So in no glitches that the water walk and stuff is not in logic.
Correct. Zora area requires a glove or flippers, and Waterfall Ferry requires flippers. But we have ways around that in this mode to keep it in logic. You see Dark and Sky jumping up to this ledge here, running up, and is now at K45.
Boy, we're into that corner.
Didn't see anything Waterfall Fairy. So
big waterfall fairy had a flute.
oh yeah, flute. And what's on Zora's ledge? No money for Zora, unfortunately, but
Looked like just a red 20.
And Sky's giving us a shovel check for just some arrows, and I imagine Sky's actually about to clip back up into desert and go finish desert. And you know, there's rocks in front of the Desert Palace back entrance. Also, you just saw a sign that Angles ran past up on that ledge. That's where we put our glitch tournament winners.
Well, that's interesting.
You see, we put names of our glitch tournament winners there, kind of like how the Houlihan Room has the winners of the main tournaments.
Okay, yeah.
Two different routes to East Dark World. We saw a clip into the clouds from Mr. Buyer. And Doc has the money for Zora, so we're going to see what the big fish has for us today. That's a glove.
Yeah, definitely not a scam this time. It's definitely going to want that.
And one glove is very, very good, especially if we find out the Ice Palace is a crystal. Buyer, you don't have a mirror, do you? No. Oh. Okay, this is interesting. Buyer is doing a citrus to get an upward teleport to teleport past the block and the rocks. That was kind of cool, Buyer. I have not seen that before.
So there's a mirror in front part of Paradox.
We like seeing that mirror because now we can. One, mirror is just nice to have for in dungeons, but also it does put into logic the Pyramid Fairy right now. And Sky, you saw just clipped past the rocks to get into Desert Palace back. So, yeah, Landmo's just killable now. And shoutouts to Super Malmo World in chat, helping out with explaining a few things. She is one of the premier glitch runners, and is that clip to Buyer just showing off all sorts of interesting routing today, isn't he? Because now he's clipped down to Potion Shop to get a blue potion.
So we see how this. So you said the blue potion does a flute? Is this like a fake flute or something?
Yes, it is in fact a fake flute. I will admit, I just said all that, said everything I want to say without my push to talk on. So, alright, and we're getting a Moldorm fight out of Dr. Earworm, and shortly Angles as well. How do you like NMG fighter sword only Moldorm?
Oh man, I hated doing this in like vanilla and stuff. It's especially when it goes fast. It's just really annoying.
It's dangerous at that speed. Looks like we're having a little bit of frame rate issue from Sky. So, but looks like he. Oh, I believe we just heard him take death to the mini Moldorm. So that's unfortunate. And we got a piece of heart. The one thing I didn't catch, did we get a key? A small key to Tower of Hera in here?
Uh,
We did.
oh,
Okay.
there's one right there. Yeah, okay.
That is important to note, that we have that key, because we can make use of that key elsewhere, specifically Swamp Palace. That's the second clip of note for this. Swamp Palace, you can also need to get to from Misery Mire by going through Tower of Hera.
So I assume that's used. Okay.
That's part of what makes the logic really, really interesting.
So I assume that key would be for the front of Swamp, like that first lock?
Technically, that key is used on the third lock to get you out of the water switch room. And then you backtrack with the keys from there to go open the front door. The clip drops you in the first water switch room after where you hammer pegs to get to the first switch before the lobby.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mr. Buyer is in an early Hyrule Castle. That mirror helps you want to do that. And as anyone in chat who knows me, they know I'm just a fan of early Hyrule Castle. But the mirror does let us combine Hyrule Castle with Pyramid Fairy. So.
Look at Angle's just having a little bit of trouble with that Moldorm.
He doesn't have the sword to hold himself up on the ledge, even with the hammer.
Yeah, that makes things harder there.
So he has to be more careful not to get hit, because one hit will knock him into the pit at the wrong angle.
There we go.
And we have dungeons cleared we have a pendant dungeon cleared for both Doc and Angles, and you might notice Doc's at King's Tomb. There's a clip we can do similar to the one for Graveyard. Actually, it's the same initial clip. We just then jump properly and do a couple of fancy movements to pick up a Titan's Mitz rock as if it were a bush. Angles, you're a little low. Yeah, Angles is trying to get a teleport up to that ledge for Dark Death Mountain, but unfortunately he is too low, and yeah, he is now soft locked.
Jeez, that's got to be just like pixels or something. You just get
Actually,
off a pixel or two.
He had the right pixel. He was just on the wrong bump. So we often refer to it. Now, you'll notice in that Dark Death Mountain, there's a ledge that's got some bumps along it, and we line up. Angles is lined up on the fourth bump of that ridge, and you usually line up on the fifth bump to get the right teleport position. That looks better.
Jeez, that's just like such a small detail there.
With glitches, you have to be precise. A soft lock is a better outcome than the alternative. And Buyer's going to get us a... Alright, yep. Mr. Buyer is now in Pyramid Fairy as a bunny with Super Bunny and pulls magic powder. And gets a red potion in his bottle with a B. Meanwhile, you've got Angles up on Dark Death Mountain.
It looked like another sword in the Super Bunny cave there.
Always nice to find an extra sword. Does not have a glove, so can't easily get to the floating island. There is a clip to get there, but it's a little slow. And is taking a kind of traditional route and ending up here at Catfish. You just spin speed through that ledge, and suddenly you're at Catfish.
Oh,
Useful
boy,
trick
did
to know.
that mess up the
Yeah,
graphics a little bit there.
yeah. This area is not meant to have Dark Death Mountain color palette. You will see that when they go from the mountain to not the mountain places. And are we about to see kind of... we're actually about to see a trip to Palace of Darkness, the overworld glitches way. So this is how we usually get here in a overworld glitches seed. There is actually a way you can get to Palace of Darkness from the light world in Hybrid Major Glitches, and that is through Spectacle Rock Cave. Meanwhile, you've got Mr. Buyer in what we call fake Dark World, I believe. Or he was in fake Dark World for a minute. Fake Light World because he was a... Malmo, please help. Give me the correct term. If you're still there in chat. But I believe it was fake Light World from the fake flute. And then he pulled on a pole tree or the Thieves' Town entrance to get Link State in the Dark World without the Moon Pearl. Mr. Buyer is a known fan of doing fake flute YBAs to get to the Dark World as a human without the Moon Pearl. And Angles is setting up... Angles is doing a super jump. You might want to watch this one, Pix. This is a very fun trick to watch in top right. Top left. I'm bad at directions.
Oh my goodness. It's like I'm trying to follow what's even going on here. And
he just jumped from the top of the map to the bottom. Or a trick we sometimes call skydiving. And Mr. Buyer is in Thieves' Town. Have we gotten a Dark World map check yet? I don't believe so.
I
But
think I saw one.
We can tell Thieves' Town is a crystal.
I think Buyer did do a brief map check. I want to say Ice Palace was a pendant, but I'd probably wait for another check.
Right, and Sky is on fake flippers from Hobo and is now going to go get Waterwalk State out of the Waterfall Ferry, similar to how you see in an Open 7-7 when you have the Moon Pearl. Again, this isn't logic. We are getting a lot of different routes just from the different runners, which is a common thing with this mode. There is a lot to pay attention to.
I would think like any one of these routes is perfectly valid to do in like a general run.
I'll confirm. It's every single route here. I have seen these routes from different runners before. Mr. Buyer is the most common one to run this sort of Dark World without Moon Pearl route. But he's also been playing this kind of mode for years. He is very experienced. Meanwhile, I believe... I know that Dr. Earworm was. I believe Angles was as well. He was in... But they were... Dr. Earworm was in the most recent Mentor tournament for glitched running. So, a wide variety of skills on display here. Skills and experiences. And here's our ever-favorite type cave. And with a hook shot.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely worth it here.
I'd call that hype.
I mean, it's just amazing how these runners make it look like it's kind of running these tricks like so smoothly.
Lots of practice, let me tell you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ooh, I have not been counting items. We might have an item getting left in the basement of Thieves Town here. Oh, top left, we've got a more recent find from the last year. Like, over the last year, since early 2022. But, Angles is swimming through the pyramid right now.
Okay, so that's assuming it's getting into the okay. I'll get into the very.
But, I can't explain details on it. I haven't learned it yet. But I believe what they do is they swim at a specific position on a diagonal wall, and it arms a variant of EG in the overworld, which is legal to do. Overworld EG. It's just not legal in the underworld to cause chaos. And we have our first crystal for Mr. Meyer out of Thieves Town. And with that mirror, he can turn this Thieves Town clear into a Kakariko clear now, too. He is, Mr. Meyer is trying to use the mirror and cross the door transition at the same time to get Soup Bunny State inside this brewery. I believe this is one of the more difficult entrances to get it into. Meanwhile, Dr. Irem taking a north-down approach to the Dark World by clipping from Death Mountain without breaking the camera. And you'll notice the graphics look a little bit messed up because of the color palette. It's my favorite thing to see these color palettes get messed up by Dark Death Mountain. And with Fire Rod, we're going to take a look here in Skull Woods.
So I think that the little shed in Thieves Town had ether.
I have been corrected, by the way. It's not a form of EG, it's just a clipping state, according to a resident glitchmaster Super Malmo World. Vanilla Big Key in Skull Woods. Little bit of a scary moth fight. You only have a fighter sword and a hammer, which is plenty. Okay, good. We did get both items out of Hera. I actually forgot to watch other runners see what was in that compass chest. But that key is now completely safe to use in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I believe it was 20 rupees and a heart piece from Hera.
Correct, yes. And a couple of spins on the ball and chain guard with Master Sword. I love that theme for Moldorm on this MSU. Dark and Sky running the Twilight Princess MSU. Very exciting music for Moldorm. And it looks like Angles is going to go visit Hammer Pegs. just got to get clipped properly into this rail and set up a fake flipper on this screen transition here. And he got it. And this will let Angles get to hammer pegs without the mitts. Dr. Aram brings down Mothula, very nicely fought. And here in Hammer Pegs, we have Vanilla Piece of Heart.
So would say like a Smithy Chain and Purple Chest, would that still require Titan Smiths? Or is there like any glitches to get around that?
Logically, the Smith Chain does require the Titan Smiths. We can't logically get to the Smith without the mitts. There are some tricks that can get you there without mitts, usually involving some Yuzuhara's Bottle Adventures, where you drink a potion on the same frame that you transition the screen, which causes some effect. We've seen one of those already from Mr. Bayer, where he drank a blue potion on the same frame and ended up getting a flute minion, which can even be used in the Dark World. And looking for the last item here in Skullwoods, it's the book. Oh, Sky went for the hover across the Paradox Gap and unfortunately took a fall. And Angles has used the same swim clip to go for... Yep, and he is in the back of Escape without a glove. This swim clip is very powerful used in the right places. Unfortunately, not finding anything major in the back of Escape.
And looking like Pedestal had nothing, just like looked like couch cash, so don't have to worry about pendants for that reason.
Meanwhile, Sky has brought the Light Death Mountain palette to Zora region, where he will buy his glove. That same route is used in a glitched speedrun to pick up the flippers while getting your Ether Medallion to get into Misery Mire, just for fun fact.
It's just really funny to see some of these, a lot of these screens, just the background getting all glitched up with some after a lot of these moves here.
Color palettes being used where they're not supposed to leads to some funny things. If you take the Dark Death Mountain palette to the pyramid, you know how when you get to the top pyramid there's a sky background?
Yes.
It turns it into what looks like lava. It's fun. So it looks like our last pendant is Ice Palace, so we will be needing some fire and ice rods and a bow today. And the flippers for Swamp.
I'm not sure if anyone's gone into Eastern Palace yet.
They have not. It's a common thing that people in the links past me don't care to do Eastern Palace without a bow. We do try to mitigate double dipping. And Mr. Byer heading for his desert clear. And I think Sky is going to give us an attempt at hovering the gap here. First, getting this one check that you can just bonk across for a tempered sword. We have three swords, 2 of which are on Deathbound. Try and get the hover to get these checks without the hook shot. Can he get the rhythm? And he's got one. For a bow! That's a big pull without that hook shot. We know where the hook shot is, but Angle's willing to make a second trip back up the mountain to go get it.
So that would make something like Eastern and Pod plays more viable now with that bow.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you factor in fact that, yes, I said we like to mitigate double dips. That doesn't change the fact that they are still Sphere 1 and can have anything in them because most of the checks don't require anything. Because Palace of Darkness is also Sphere 1 because we can clip there from Spectral Rock Cave. And it's in logic. You just put some underworld clips in, and suddenly logic becomes very fascinating when you can do things like get from to Palace of Darkness in the Light World with nothing. And where are we going next? Alright, it looks like Sky is going to go to the Dark World. To the main Dark World via this clip off the bottom, and a funny auto-walk thing, as we like to call it, because you walk automatically. Sky was not holding controller to walk down there. It's just a funny automatic walk. And there's a cane at Myershed. And I did miss it. Did we happen to catch the Meyer medallion from Mr. Byer?
I'm not sure. I don't think I saw it, or if it was there, I missed it as well.
Forerunners. There are forerunners to keep track of, so it's hard to watch all the screens at once. Which is why I thank you for being willing to join me on comms for this in particular.
I mean, this is interesting because I think like the regular like no glitches, is just kind of rerouting each other's paths, but this one is just everyone going their own way, and which is again perfectly viable in its own right.
And sometimes you base what you're doing based on what tricks you know too, which is why you see Mr. Byer doing a lot of different route from everybody else.
Okay, so we can get into from Meyer.
We can get into Meyer. So, it's okay. I won't say it's the best clear here. We don't have a bow. It's not in logic because of lamp. We can't kill Vitreous, but we have a bow and we have a fighter sword and a hammer. That's not going to be a pleasant Vitreous fight, but you could clear it if you wanted. And Dr. Irm's going to use that book to check the Bombos tablet. See if he has to come back down here. He does not. It's just a piece of art. And I'm seeing the exclamation point C command not working right now. We'll see if we can get a volunteer to come help fix it. So I thank you for your patience there. And looks like I have not seen anything noteworthy in Misery Mire yet. Unless I'm guessing the mushroom was here? No. Mushroom must not have been here, because Angles has as well.
Mushroom was, I believe, from Uncle.
From Uncle, okay.
I think Mire so far is just 50 rupees.
And opening cutscene. We like to open cutscene regardless because there's a bomb clip that lets you get to Tower of Hera. Doesn't work if you don't have the wall move for the pit. It also helps that the big key was vanilla, so we kind of need that.
So I'm seeing Dr. Earworm in GT at this point.
Yes, you do. It makes sense when you have everything you need to clear it, except for a bow. GT. GT is a 7 entry requirement for technicality reasons. The main reason is we don't want to have to navigate up here as a bunny. So by making a 7 crystal requirement, it keeps the moon pearl from being placed in here. But because there's a clip to get you into GT, logically things required to get crystals can be in here. Looking at, we just need flippers and an ice rod for no mode. And it looks like Bayer is going to go for Vitreous, which Dark Mire, this can be pretty scary.
I haven't really seen the GT with anything so far.
That was a lot of money. Alright, Big Key is in the Stalfos room. And there's the flippers. Let the ice rod hunt begin. Because across the board, the only item we're missing is the ice rod. Dr. Irem still does need that bow out of Hookshot Cave, and the swords out of Hookshot Cave and Soup Bunny. But I don't imagine it would take long for Doc to get to those. Flippers in Gin's tower. This is a spooky Vitreous fight. I believe Buyer still has a red potion. Ooh, takes a death. That fight is not... Oh, he has a fairy. Okay.
Oh, that would explain why he didn't do anything about that. Just let the fairy auto-revive there.
And then takes advantage of fairy iframes to get a few hammer smacks in on those eyeballs. And I believe that we have not seen much else out of GT other than those flippers. And this is going to be a fun little Ice Armos fight. Doc doesn't have a bow.
Let's see, Mirror Shield was in GT in that 4 chest room. So, but yeah, not much else.
Doc is going to check the big chest, which has a key. So there's our logic to get through the climb. And there's that red potion. And we're in phase 2 of Vitreous. It is now time for 16 hammer hits on this eyeball.
And French vanilla red mail in the chest right before the Ice Armos.
And a beautiful hammer stun lock in the bottom right corner for the Ice Rod on Vitreous.
Oh my. I mean, that's just impressive to do that with just a fighter sword.
And a hammer. But that puts us in no mode here on Restream. So we'll have to see where Doc goes next and where Buyer goes next. Well, Buyer's going to go open up Swamp Palace next. And this is a fight you just don't want to do with a fighter sword.
But I guess given that we just saw, like, just as Dr. Earworm in GTs, that's probably why you don't need Titan's mitts necessarily for this.
The only things that require Titan's mitts in Logic at this point, I believe, are Smith Chain, being both Blacksmith and Purple Chest, as well as I'm sorry, the Malomart theme caught me off guard. As well as Ice Palace now. There was a recent change that took out a couple of flipper wraps that are kind of just not pleasant to do, and have pretty good lock. Have decent lock, hard lock or soft lock risks. I believe hard lock risks that they removed from the Logic, and now Ice Palace, I believe, is only accessible with the mitts logically. Mr. Buyer gets his heart piece and doesn't want the pendant, so he just drops down. Oh, he's still in. Hold on, he is in Buyer's. He's in Myers State. He doesn't want to pick up the crystal here. I forgot he was in Myers State. And yet now he's going to clip through this corner here and just trying to get the proper one frame movements. And hey, he's a Swamp Palace now.
Okay, now I can see where that drops you. Okay, that's the lock you need that key for.
Logically, you're supposed to use Meyer Smalls, actually. It's just that a lot of times, if we can, we'll use the Tower of Hera Small, because then we don't have to go back into Misery Mire.
It's of note, it's very convenient that the Ice Palace is just a pendant, so don't have to search for myths anywhere.
I say it's logically required. I guarantee you, if Ice Palace was required, most of these runners wouldn't bother looking for myths. They would get there without them. And Bayer's going to pick up his hookshot from Hype Cave. That was a beautiful route. So, Bayer clear into Swamp unlock to then get to Hype Cave. So. Meanwhile, Dr. Earworm did the Swamp unlock from Tower of Hera with that small key, which will let him mirror several times to get back to the Light World, because Dr. Earworm clipped to Swamp from Tower of Hera, which is a Light World dungeon, then came out of the Swamp Palace entrance, which is in the Dark World. However, you're still technically in the Light World state, so mirroring puts you in the Dark World, and then you mirror again to get to the Light World. Link to the Past is a very fun game to break when you know what you're doing. Darkened Sky is here in Misery Mire. I will say, Darkened Sky is going to have a much faster Vitreous kill. Dr. Earworm has gotten into Swamp Palace proper. And Angles is going to show us getting to the Palace of Darkness. Trying to get the bomb, trying to get a bomb on the right pixel, so the bomb damage will blast you back into the wall at the right point, where you can set up a teleport to go down and cross into the Palace of Darkness shooter room. I don't remember which part of the dungeon underworld map it was connected to. And unfortunately missed that clip. Oh! There was a bow on Mushroom Turn-In. Yeah, and you can see from Angles versus Fire, the Angle's having a little trouble with the spawn clip. Meanwhile, Bayer is in Palace of Darkness in cave state, and thus has effectively 255 small keys. He uses one to open that front door. Meanwhile, Dr. Earworm is doing fighter sword spins on Argus, not the fight that anyone wants to do. And Sky is on 2 hearts going into Dark Mire. And I think we might have Angles looking at a guide to figure out what's going wrong with his bomb clip. Another thing, never be afraid to take a moment to look at glitch resources to figure out what you're doing wrong with a glitch, because it's better to be able to figure out how to do glitch correctly than to struggle and do it incorrectly and potentially hard lock. And we're getting Cane of Bernadashes with the Tempered Sword on Vitreous from Sky. And takes a death! Oh no!
Oh, it didn't have any, like, bottled fairies or anything.
Vitreous is not being nice to our runners today. Mr. Meyer gets all this money out of the basement of Pod. Oh no, Sky forgot to flip the switch. I believe he has enough time. And Angles gets to clip into Palace of Darkness. Dr. Earworm picking up that mushroom. Sky is working his way to that Vitreous fight once again.
So with Pod, so it's only really worth opening that first lock. In this case, it's not worth like trying to go in and open other locks.
Correct, because one thing that you don't want to do in a cave state Palace of Darkness is specifically pull the big key out of a check, because that counts a cave state big key and not let you pick it up again in Palace of Darkness, which means you wouldn't be able to get to Helmasaur King without a quite difficult clip through the basement rail. So we just open the front door to make it easier to navigate the dungeon, and then we go back in Palace of Darkness state to get the items and finish the dungeon. And Sky is going to get through this fight safer this time, was able to get the potion off, not get hit by the eyeballs or the lightning, and will get his ice rod as a reward. And yes, Bleedy Sky was going for the bottle in the Wreath attempt, but unfortunately wasn't able to get to it in time with the quick swap, and unfortunately took a death. Mr. Bayer, using hammer spin speed hammer extension to get 4 hammer hits in. I think it was a spin speed extension. If it was not, it was even more impressive. And brings down Helmasaur King. So at this point, Sky has to go to Height Cave for Hookshot, and then get Flippers out of GT. Doc has to get a bow, either a bow out of Hookshot Cave or off Mushroom, and one of the swords off Dark Death Mountain. And Angles needs a bow and both rods. And the Flippers. And Mr. Bayer just needs to go to GT for the Flippers and get a sword. So, honestly, we found a lot here in an hour, so I'd like to take a quick moment to remind everyone that if you're enjoying what you're seeing, go follow these runners. They're putting on a fantastic show for you. Mr. Bayer gets a sword out of the Super Bunny Cave.
Hey, Sky picking up that hook shot from the Height Cave.
And Angles is in Eastern Palace. Unfortunately, is not going to find a bow here. Mr. Bayer getting the front items out of Turtle Rock. And Sky's going to check Ether Tablet to see what we got here.
And I may have just seen the other glove in the front of TR.
Really? That's a great spot for that. Zora and Turtle Rock. What wonderful places for gloves. Especially when you don't need them. Because this seed is clearable without glove. Is this Turtle Rock really clearable from the front in a glitch seed? Normally we're required to clip in through the middle, but no, apparently today we can just do this the vanilla way. Mr. Bayer does get his big key and will return later. He's going to go get his item off Catfish. Right, and Question comes down to when will Sky and Bayer go to Ganon's tower? Mr. Bayer's about to get his other glove. He's going to get his mitts off of Zora. Yes, twin. That did happen.
Just want to make sure. So you get into GT kind of the same way you would get into Hera in the Light World, like the equivalent.
It's a very similar trick. Yes, we do a clip through that diagonal rail, and it will wrap you from the bottom of the screen to the top. With a little nudge, you're then in the stairway of Ganon's tower. Where are you going next, Bayer? What are you going to show us now? Okay, you're setting up... Wow! I have never seen this before. Mr. Bayer just used that swim clip we were talking about earlier to swim from Catfish to the bottom of Dark Death Mountain, where he is going to enter Hookshot Cave from the top.
Oh my goodness.
Malmo said it best in chat. Mr. Bayer likes to show off for Restream. He's giving us a show, all right. And he gets his silvers and a tempered sword for his efforts, so I wouldn't complain, would you?
Well, makes the Ganon fight pretty much a cakewalk at this point. Certainly glad to see all that stuff. Okay, so Angles is making a way through GT. Eventually we'll get those flippers.
Sky is trying to... Sky is trying to navigate Dark Maze to get to the checks. Just has to be extremely careful because one fireball will kill him. Okay, all 4 swords are on the Dark Death Mountain. That's cool. Or all 3 other swords. There's one in Mayworm Cave, and then there's one in TR, one in Hookshot Cave, and one in Sleep Bunny Cave. Angles will pull flippers here in just a moment.
Was that TR big chest for the other sword?
For gold sword, yeah. And Mr. Bayer will be picking up a crystal out of Turtle Rock here soon. Sky and Dr. Ear will pick up their crystals out of Palace of Darkness fairly quickly. Angles just needs to go turn in that mushroom or go to Hookshot Cave and we'll get a bow. Honestly, we've got a pretty close race here, all things considered. And we have seen effectively 4 different routes, so it's been fun to watch.
It's probably going to converge right at the very end when you get into the Ganon fight.
I can see it happening with a couple of these runners too.
And a nice half-cost magic on Laser Bridge. It's always good to see that.
It is nice to see that. Not the most mandatory thing when you have Gold Sword. It means that Trinix isn't going to take long regardless. But it is a convenience item. If we never say no to easy convenience. And Sky is first runner to Helmasaur King in the Palace of Darkness race down at the bottom. And unfortunately, Bayer did not get his quick swap off in time to get a full backdoor strats on Trinix. The MSU being used right now is Twilight Princess, featured from Darkened Sky's perspective. If we do switch to Bayer's audio, I believe he's using Mario Kart 8 MSU. Angles is going to have a slightly easier fight with the Armos Knights down here than Dr. Earworm did, because sword beams are ranged weapons, unlike the Fighter Sword. Well done fight from Dr. Earworm on Helmasaur.
And Mr. Bayer just looked like just went straight into Skullwoods. Just
he did what we call a map wrap. He went from the eastern end of the world to the western end of the world by going from Turtle Rock to Skull Woods. Very useful if you're in a go mode or near go mode situation like Bayer is. And Sky is going to do the mirror wrap to Laser Bridge here.
I mean, that's just crazy how powerful some of these glitches are.
It is. It's what makes
really changes up the routing.
It's what makes a glitch run so much different and so enjoyable. And Mr. Bayer brings down Mothfield, putting him at 6 crystals. All he has to do now is get the flippers out of GT and go kill Argus and finish GT. Mr. Bayer is going to look for the other item here in Skull Woods. Doesn't want to leave flippers here, obviously.
So I guess when he goes to GT and gets the flippers, could he just clear out GT and then do Swamp?
Yes, he could. Actually, it'd be more beneficial of a route to do so. I apologize for the effect going on Dr. Earworm's screen. Unfortunately, when you do transition to the Misery Mire area in Dark World Palette, the rain does get corrupted and look like that. Mr. Buyer. Mr. Buyer is now en route to. I'm going to guess this is going to be a trip to GT because that is a very dense plate. Mr. Buyer can full clear right now. That has to be done. But Mr. Buyer is also known to give us whatever route he wants. Oh no! Angles doesn't have the magic for Misery Mire entrance.
Okay, taking out that ether tablet, that's actually reasonable. Might as well just get that quick check out of the way.
I am curious to see if Mr. Buyer takes time to Spike Cave while he's here. And he is. He's going to do Spike Cave as he goes through. Honestly, it's the best time to route in Spike Cave if you were going to do it, because it's on the way to Jin's tower. I know, to somebody who doesn't understand glitch routing, this all sounds absolute nonsense on routing orders. But Buyer will just leave this cave and jump down to the bottom of this screen here. Line up on the back wall, set hook speed, walk to the left, and clip through the rail to then jump up to Ganon's tower. And Buyer is not going to go to the right. He will be going instead to the Stalfos room, which is, in this case, the correct play, because that is where our flippers and our big key are. Sky has a close shave with Trinex. That has half a heart remaining. Gets his flippers. All he has to do now is find that big key, which fortunately is right over here in the bottom left corner. And that is officially a go mode for Mr. Buyer. Unfortunately, Sky did not have the turtle head open. It did have to mirror and hammer those pegs back down. And Sky is going to grab the Turtle Rock big chest here. Gets a golden sword for a reward. Angle's going back for Misery Mire. Miss Buyer stopping at this refill room, 2.5 hearts. Not a bad thing to be at full health going into the gauntlet. Sky going to do Spike Cave en route to GT. So as we're coming to the end of this run, this leads me to ask one important question, though. Where's the lamp?
We've not even seen him. It could be easily a pendant. Nobody even touched Ice Palace. It easily could be in there.
It could be. Because, yeah, we did get the mitts, but without needing the lamp. It could actually be in Ice Palace.
Also, not sure about if we ever saw the cape, or I'm pretty sure we didn't see Quake anywhere.
In this case, those at least don't have logical implications right now. The lamp does. But Mr. Byers at top of Gaines Tower just has to... Ooh. Little bit... Has to take his blue potion because he ran out of magic with that misfire. And I'm not sure if... Yeah, I think he doesn't have enough time now. Yep. Has to wait for the torches to go back out for a bit. Sky does clear out Compass Room. Dr. Earworm. All Dr. Earworm has to do now for Go Mode is get one of the 3 swords that are all on Dark Death Mountain.
I mean, probably something like Hookshot Cave or TR. Assuming he's probably going to run into at least one of those 2.
Ooh, Mistfire does unfortunately get knocked back by the sword knockback into the underground, into the basement of this room. Yeah, this basement on like floor 5. It's Moldorm. It doesn't have to make sense. And Sky is in Go Mode. And what is Moldorm's last gift to us today? It's the map to Gaines Tower.
Actually, would have been really laughing if that was actually the lamp there.
I'm trying to think if it could have been. I don't think there was anything stopping it from being the lamp. This was funny. And we've got just a little bit of geometry. Are you good at geometry?
Oh, I haven't done that in a long time.
Aghanim seems to insist that we need to know it. I think it's the first time I've ever seen it be applicable to real life.
Always like in the triangle setups.
And Mr. Fire brings down Aga 2. All he has to do now is go back to the Swamp Palace that he has unlocked, and we got a Calliope! I can't explain that, I just know it's cool. Malmo, if you would please, down in chat, if you're still here. Alright, and Mr. Buyer off to Swamp Palace. Darkened Sky is in the... heading into Land Mode 2. Angles is en route to Vitreous. Actually, I think Angles is about to be in Go Mode off this Vitreous. Because the tracker doesn't have the red cane marked, but Angles is here, so has the red cane. I'm going to assume that the Speed Gaming tracker ate an input. Nom nom tasty. And Dr. Irem is in Turtle Rock. Making use of that Mirror Shield for its intended purpose. Does not have any of those swords yet. Doc, do you have the big key?
Oh boy.
Sometimes when you're in these late situations, you just forget about things like, oh, that big key door. I have never understood why this dungeon has 2 big key doors. Or, for that matter, why Meyer has 2 big key doors as well. Our tracker's trying to figure out how Doc is avoiding source. He is prioritizing clearable crystal dungeons first. It just means that, unfortunately, he's doing it all with Fire Sword. Angles gets his Ice Rod, putting him in go mode. Unfortunately, does have to get through about 5 more crystals.
It's time for a dungeon rush.
So yeah, we have 3 runners in go mode. Doc's looking for a sword.
And that is going to be crystal number 7 for Mr. Byers. On the way to finishing.
Yeah, all Byers do now is run up and go visit everyone's favorite friend, Ganon. I'm curious if Bayer has a trick to make it faster, or he's just going to run through the hammer pegs. This is Bayer. He might pull something out to show off. But no, it looks like he's just going to dash through the pegs. Sky is going to go open Swamp Palace from Tower of Hera with a... Actually, I've not seen that method of Hera Pot in a long time. Angle's picking up crystal number 3. Dr. Aaron about to pick up crystal number 7. And yeah, Doc's going to have 7 crystals and not be in go mode. Doc just needs to get his camera back out for this fight. Miss Bayer gets through phases 1 and 2. Gold Sword will cut through Ganon like butter. Dark Sky giving us a dash citrus to get into Swamp Palace from Tower of Hera State. Phase 4 does have silver arrows, so just has to get 4 little slivers of silver into the pig, and we'll have finished this seed in a respectable sub-90 time. And once Byers cross this bridge, get some GG's in chat for Mr. Bayer, who is about to take first place in our restream today. Taking 3rd in the race room, GG's Mr. Bayer. Angle setting up a bomb clip through this wall in Misery Mire. Unfortunately, could not get turned and end up hugging the wall instead. Just gotta set that back up again. It's not too hard. You don't need to buffer down, Angles. Just gotta dash turn to the right.
Okay, so Dr. Earworm finally getting that Master Sword, so
Unfortunately for
Well
him,
on his
there's
way.
2 more up here, but
Yeah, TR, that's gone, and then well, the other one was in who was the other sword?
did you get the one in Hookshot Cave or Soup Bunny?
You got Hookshot Cave. Oh, Super Bunny had the other one. Okay. He just got the Hookshot Cave one, so he got his silvers at least.
Sky on the way to Argus. Dr. Earworm on the way up the tower. And I think Mr. Byer is going to join us here shortly for an interview, so we'll come up when he's ready. Until then, just gotta get through Argus. I believe Angles is looking up to see where he's going wrong with his bomb clip. And welcome in Mr. Byer. GG's.
GG's.
GG, Mr. Byer.
You showed us off some really fun tech today.
Yeah. I might have meme routed a little too hard this seed, but it's
I
fun,
mean,
so it doesn't
is
matter.
it really meme routing if it worked?
Yeah, but there were definitely some things I immediately groaned about, after getting them, especially the Moon Pearl.
I was going to assume the hammer immediately after clearing Thieves' Tomb.
Yeah, I was so worried because I knew literally everyone else would have these 10 big key except for these 10 big chests except for me. So if I had to go on an item hunt, that would be the first place I go to.
Yeah. Luckily, you didn't have to.
Yeah. Another thing I was really annoyed was getting the bow and potion shop, because I actually told myself that I could do that before doing the rest of Dark World, and that would have saved me so much time on Mire.
You gave us a really, really good fight, though. That was a really enjoyable fight to watch with the fire sword and hammer. Yes, it was slow.
Yeah.
You and I both know that's a slow fight.
I was confident in my Phase 2 hammer biddy, but Phase 1 was the real problem.
And Darkened Sky drops into his Ganon fight. Dr. Earworm is in Torch's room, and Angles has made it through the Mire wall to go towards Swamp. So, fun fact about this seed buyer.
Yeah.
We had 3 different go modes on screen.
Oh.
You and Sky both had flippers for go.
Okay.
Angles' go was Ice Rod.
Yeah, that was another one. That's why I felt really good about that video play, because the Ice Rod was kind of worth it for that.
Dr. Earworm was on Sword.
Oh. I got 3 swords in a row, and it was so weird.
So what were your thoughts on those unrequired gloves?
Yeah, I was yeah, the swords and the gloves were really funny, but also really annoying, because I was I could have had these earlier. And it would have been nice if I had them earlier, but the game gave them at the worst possible time. Or at least the gloves, yeah.
Honestly,
Right,
that
so-
Turtle Rock glove was funny.
Yeah.
Did anyone else get it? I'm assuming no.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see on the tracker that anyone else got it. I mean, that's just such an out-of-the-way place in the front of TR to get that.
You did get called out, Buyer, for opening the front door of TR.
I did that to set up, because I was going to do Skullix map wrap later. That's why I did it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm just saying, you got called out.
Yeah. But I think it was worth it in this case, especially since Big Key was, chain jumps?
And get your GGs in chat for Darkened Sky. finishing second on the restream, 5th place overall, with a 133.58. Apologies, Mr. Bayer.
Yeah, I think Big Q was chain chomps, I think.
It was, yes.
So I think it would have been worth it if I didn't also need to find flippers, because I ended up doing all of Turtle Rock anyway.
Yeah. And Darkened Sky has joined us. GG, Sky.
Hey, thanks.
GG.
So, what did you think of this seed, Sky?
It was pretty quick. If not for my unfortunate hardware issues, I would have done a lot better. But what can you do?
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, something went really weird with my capture card, and it took several minutes to fix it. OBS was fine. I don't know. But anyway, seed itself was pretty good. There was a good amount. Like, I could have gone to GT sooner and skipped some overworld checks, but overall, pretty happy with how I played.
Well, GG's. Dr. Earworm setting up for Master Sword Ganon.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, I was telling Bayer earlier, there were 3 different Go modes in this seed. You and Bayer shared Flipper's Go mode. Angles had Ice Rod for Go. Dr. Earworm was Sword Go.
Interesting combo.
But Dr. Earworm did not want to go back up to Dark Death Mountain for anything. Until having the ability to clear Turtle Rock, I believe. Which does unfortunately mean there were a lot of Fighter Sword and Hammer fights. I mean, luckily, the worst one of those he did have a bow for, namely Vitreous. Angles ran out of bombs and just reset back out of Swamp Palace. That is unfortunate. Alright, Dr. Earworm gets through Phase 2, just has to get through a few hits on Phase 3, and does have the silvers, so... Alright, just has to get 4 little bits of silver stuck in this pig, and we'll have finished this race. Also of note, the cadence of Hyrule MSU Ganon fight, just absolutely good music. Gets a silverless spin. I still insist that Master Sword and Silvers is the worst way to fight Ganon. Right, and just has to get across that bridge. And everyone gets some GGs ready for Dr. Earworm. No, Tam, not forfeit. GGs. GG Dr. Earworm. Finishing in 3rd place on the restream, 6th overall. and we'll see if Doc wants to join the rest of us in here for an interview. While Angles works his way through Swamp Palace, Sky, Bayer, either of you have anything else you would like to say?
Not that I can think of.
Welcome in, Dr. Earworm. GG's.
Oh, GG's.
GG's.
Oh, I forgot to stop my timer. Whoopsie.
So, yeah. Fun seed, right, Doc?
Yeah. I mean, so there was a point early on where my plan was to go to East Dark Death Mountain, but I got the hook shot and I'm like, GT looks nicer. And so I dodged all of the stuff that would have made me more willing to go to Misery Mire. The sword and the silvers and all that. And
one small correction.
What's
the
that?
Swords.
Yeah, the sword. Well, there was a Master Sword in Hookshot Cave, and the silvers.
There was a tempered sword for you in Super Bunny.
Oh God. Okay. Well,
For fun fact, to add to the fun, you've got you have an entrance up under the rock with a sword. You have an entrance next to it with a sword, and an entrance below it with a sword.
Yeah, and I should have when I was mirror wrapping onto Laser Bridge, and I realized I didn't have any bombs. And I was like hunting around for a bomb shop because I forgot where it was, and then instead of going up through Super Bunny, anyway, whatever. It was a fun scene. I dodged everything, but it works.
What's a sword, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was fun. I just wanted to show people some strats for low firepower vidi. That's all.
You still had more firepower than Bayer did. Let me tell you.
Oh, I'm sure. Bayer and I'm sure Krithel also just I was saying to myself as I was running away from Meyer, I'm a coward. And sure enough, I should have just got in there, but oh well.
Do you think you'd be up for a bolus fighter sword video?
I mean, not with the health and mail that I was on at the time. No.
Yeah, I had to use all 3 of my bottles for that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was just the comedy of errors towards the end where I mirror wrapped, realized I was out of bombs, checked every location on East Death Mountain looking for the bomb shop, and then forgot I wasn't playing cross keys and went straight to the boss door in TR without getting the big key. Yeah, lots of fun.
Cross keys. That's a thing
Lots
you
of-
and I do.
Lots of fun decisions made towards the end of that seed, and in the middle and in the beginning.
I'll be honest, I didn't think you were in cross keys brain for the big key thing. I was like, oh, did I miss you getting big key earlier?
Yeah, nope. Nope. I'm in go mode. Go to the boss. Oh, wait.
I mean, I have 2 arguments there, Doc. 1, it's not cross keys.
Yeah.
2, you weren't in go mode.
Well, it's close enough. So swords don't count.
You can kill Ganon with a hammer, right?
Yeah. But it was fun. I haven't played glitches in a while. It was nice to see I haven't completely forgotten how to do everything. So.
I'll admit, I'm a little sad I didn't get to play this one. This one was cool.
Yeah, it
Even
wasn't
with
really
it boring Moon Pearl.
Yeah, it wasn't really HMG though, right? Like, everything was accessible without any underworld stuff.
There was one thing that hard required glitches.
Which?
You don't know where admits are, do you?
No.
Would you like to know?
Sure.
Turtle Rock.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, yeah. So overworld glitches for sure. There were plenty of so both gloves were locked by.
Wait, was Small Key vanilla in Swamp?
The Small Key in vanilla was vanilla in Swamp. Yes. And the big key was in the lobby in Hera. So it was an overworld glitches seed, but it was still it was fun.
You think I'd have noticed that? Because I tend to call out that kind of thing.
Yeah, I opened it and went, "Aw." All right, I got to jump off. But thanks so much, everyone, for the restream and GG's, everybody, Bayer and Sky.
Yeah, thanks for racing, Doc. Good luck
Yeah,
with
thanks.
the rest of your day.
Thanks, you too. See ya.
While Angles works on finishing it up, do either of you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
I guess the last thing I'll say is I'm just glad that I finished instead of forfeiting when the hardware issue happened. Without that, I would have gotten a much higher placing because I just had to eat 6 to 7 minutes. But you never know.
Yeah.
Like, just keep pushing on. You never know how you might do otherwise.
You hate to see it happen, but persevering is good sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of, I didn't really. There were times that I did not save and quit for a really long time. And I've been having OBS crash on me recently, so I was like, I really should save and quit this point. I was actually going to go from Skullwoods and DMA directly to GT, but I decided against it.
And Angles has opted to forfeit here, but so everyone give a GG's to Angles as well. We'll see if Angles wants to join us for a couple minutes of interview as well. Although I'm now going to ask a question in chat. Tam, where was the lamp? We are all dying to know. GG's, Angles. The reason I'm laughing is we just got told in speed gaming chat the lamp is in mini Helwasaur room. GG's,
Okay,
Angles.
that is pretty funny. GG's. Man, I have not done an HMG or OVG in a quick minute, so that was like, I thought I knew remember a lot more, but when I tried, like, the first clip was like, oh, I don't remember the setup for this one.
Yeah. I did notice you had a couple of issues with some clips. I'm assuming the pauses were to go look up the setups in many of our fantastic resources we have in the community.
Yeah, I had to do that for the HMG ones. But I'm still happy about one thing I did. I don't know if that was caught on stream, but the Dark Cross navigation I did was amazing.
Unfortunately, I do think I missed it specifically, but everyone did things in the dark. So, and you did get through Dark Mire well. I was watching some of that. So
yeah, that was a lot of practice when it comes to that one for the main tournament last year. So that's why. But I essentially used boots for almost entire of Dark Cross. I was booting around like crazy. So that was funny.
The seat did. Yeah, it's hired major glitches, mostly in name. We found out. You might have noticed Tower of Hera was just clearable on the first trip.
Yeah.
The Swamp Palace small key is vanilla.
Yeah, I hated that so much.
So
that was the one thing I didn't want to see, and that Sestoff's they're struggling for a good 7 minutes when it comes to clipping the swamp.
Yeah, I saw you unfortunately run out of bombs while trying to clip to get your diver down too. So
yeah.
Hey, at least neither of us had to learn Bunny Pocket on the fly, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I will say the case used for Bunny Pocket also happens to overlap with where you would Dungeon Bunny Revive in Skullwoods Sky. So it's usually easier to just die in Skullwoods and Bunny Revive and do it in fake Dark World.
Nah, I see.
So
that one I can do.
I did like where the mirror was because it helped out a lot with my route. So that was clutch.
Speaking of mirrors, Fire, I have never seen that teleport into the bottom of Paradox before.
Oh, yeah.
Which one are we talking about?
Okay, I highly doubt anyone else like in this booth knows it, but so you can actually in the bottom of Paradox do an up teleport past the block.
Oh,
And
really?
I saw like some people bring this up / discover it, quote unquote, like when they were trying to map out entrance logic for glitch modes.
Hmm.
And I saw it, and it's basically just a dash citrus, but an up teleport instead of a down teleport. So it's mostly the same.
It's not faster, but
yeah,
you want to show it off.
It's absolutely not faster. No,
But
I could not get it to be faster than just falling, unfortunately. But
I know you. You just like to show things off too.
Speed.
It's a daily race. You want to show off a little too.
Yeah, the sick restream tag. So if you get like HMG less HMG seeds, you can do all the meme underworld clips instead.
But yeah, I was happy to see all. Even before you forfeit, you were in go mode ankles.
I don't have a glove.
You don't need a glove.
Don't you need it for ice?
Ice is a pendant.
Oh, that is where my mismarking was, but whatever.
Oh, your gloves, for the record, are Turtle Rock and Zora.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that is actually funny there. I defeated the Meyer. As I was gonna press it, that was where my mismark was. So I was like, wait, this is a pendant. And oh, Ice Rod! So that was funny, and I didn't bother checking the map because it was like, whatever. I lost this probably because of mismarking somewhere.
Yeah. Gonna work on wrapping up here, but is there any final thoughts that any of you would like to share? I know I've asked Fire and Sky this like 3 times now. But
Double check your map.
Thanks for the restream.
Thanks so much for the restream as well.
Thank you very much.
one last time, big shouts to our runners today, Angles, Mr. Buyer, Dark and Sky, and Dr. Earworm. They've put on a great show for us. We got to see so much different routing out of you guys. I think you guys should watch back just to see the fact that nobody routed the same. It's a glitch seed. Nobody does. Thank you to Kif and Solit for the tracking today, pushing buttons, keeping Pixcalibur and Ionis and Pix. I believe you said this is your commentary debut, so thank you for jumping in on such an intimidating mode.
Yeah, this is really different from the like typical like open seeds, casual. As you just really see how much the game itself can be broken, and all the routing changes that can go about with all the glitches you got on hand. Very fun race to see.
Hey, welcome to the community.
But, I believe that will do it for us today. Make sure to follow the Speed Gaming network of channels as well. And everyone have a great day.